Welcome back to another episode of Pan's Picks. This is a show where I go through an NFL team schedule and pick the probability in which I think they're going to win each game week in and week out. At the end, I'll come up with a win total, compare it with Vegas odds. You can compare it with your own win totals. And with me, as always, is Musketeer Bill. Bill, how are the muskets?
Oh, the muskets are firing. That's for sure.
That's right. That's right. I don't think the Three Musketeers had muskets. I remember them just being swordsmen. Yeah. Either way, I only saw the Disney one with the mice. Either way, who do we have this week or today?
Today we have Tennessee Titans 12-5 last year, first in the AFC South. Derrick Henry only played 8 regular season games last season. They still made the playoffs with the help from star wide receiver A.J. Brown. Now Brown moves over to Philadelphia. Henry is 1 year older. Can this team still make the playoffs, and will they win their division?
Oh, I don't know. I'm not high on the Tennessee Titans, if I'm being honest. So this might be interesting today. But they have an easier schedule, so let's pull it up. Speaking of the schedule, here it is. Week 1, the Giants. Hosting the Giants, let's see, 75%. That's fine. They have a good chance. Obviously, they're the better team, but not 100% starting off the season. Week 2 at Buffalo. And that's a hot pick. I agree. This is a hot pick. They've beat them 2 times in a row. What do you got on this hot pick, Bill?
I go deeper than that. Week 2, Buffalo, Monday Night Football. Tennessee is plus 7.5 points. You know, it only took 13 seconds. It wasn't last year's departure from the playoffs. It was 2000. Started a 17-year playoff drought. The Music City Miracle.
Oh,
Buffalo
man
has not beat the franchise by more than 7 points since 1994. The Houston Oilers. But I'm still taking Buffalo to cover.
All of this, and Buffalo will cover. I think the Bills are a far superior team to the Tennessee Titans. And I don't like the Tennessee Titans in this game. I don't think the Tennessee Titans are going to be better this year outside of Malik Willis being good. But for some reason, the Titans have consistently bashed on the Bills for the past couple of years, ever since the Bills became a good team. So I'll stick with a 50%, and I'm going to give it to Buffalo.
Do they cover? 7.5.
I can't call that because the game will either be really close, which then I feel like the Bills will lose and the Titans will win, or Buffalo will destroy the Titans. So I'm kind of in a toss-up, and that's how the wins are going to go. So I'm going to say maybe. I'm really 50-50 on it because I think the Bills will either crush the Titans or the Titans will sneak away with one against the Bills. So I can't make a call on that. Week 3, hosting Las Vegas, 50%. I think I'll give it to Las Vegas, though, even in Tennessee. Bill, in Tennessee, Las Vegas, yay or nay?
I am going to go with Vegas on that one. They got a lot of threats.
Yeah, I agree. Week 4 at Indianapolis. Let's go with 50% as well. And I'm going to take Indianapolis in that one. Week 5 at Washington. I don't know. I guess we'll stick with 50%. Yeah, 50%. But I do think Tennessee will win. This is a real in between 50 and 75 for me. But at Washington, I don't know. I don't love the Titans. I don't think what they're doing is sustainable. So that's why I feel like this year they might take a step back. Week 6 bye. Week 7, hosting Indianapolis. I'm going to stick with the 50%, and I'm going to take Indianapolis in this one as the slight favorite. Bill, both Indianapolis games split 2-0. Either way, what do you got?
Going to be a good running matchup.
Yeah.
They got their bye week early. I think that Tennessee can squeak this one out just because they got that early bye.
Mm-hmm.
And it's at home.
Yeah. All right. Week 8 at Houston. Hey, Houston, I believe it was just Houston. Houston's the only team to beat Tennessee in the division last year. And so I'm going to say they got their number a little bit. I'm going to say 75%. I'm not going to give them a full 100% on Houston, even though you're talking about one of the worst teams in the league versus, AFC's number 1 seed last year. Week 9 at Kansas City. I'm going to go 25%. I think Kansas City's going to stomp them. I just feel like that this one, they're going to have to go into Arrowhead, and I don't think they're going to be able to keep up with Mahomes and that team. I think they're going to get out-coached. They're going to get beat. Week 10, hosting Denver. I'll stick with a 50% on that one. Tennessee's still got some clout against a team that, hasn't necessarily proven much with the new quarterback yet. But at that point, Denver could really be humming. I think I'll take Denver in this one, though. Bill, Denver, Tennessee, who do you got?
Also had a 50-50. I would lean towards Denver as long as they are firing. But I still have question marks for that team and how Russell Wilson can handle the offense.
Yeah, just got that big, nice contract today, I saw. Week 11 at Green Bay. I think the quarterback matchup's not. They might be going with a rookie quarterback at this point if Tannehill's not proving it, especially if they drop the games against Kansas City and Denver. So let's go with 25%. I'm going to do 25%. I think Aaron Rodgers will reign supreme. And they're just going to outclass the Titans. Week 12, hosting Cincinnati. I'll go with a hot pick. Bill, why is this a hot pick?
Week 12, hosting Cincinnati. The money line, the odds are even right now. Last season, Cincinnati knocked Tennessee out with a 52-yard field goal, leaving no time on the clock. Tannehill threw 3 interceptions. Burrow was sacked 9 times. Sacks are bad, but not as bad as turnovers. I'll take Cincinnati in this one.
I agree with you. I'll take Cincinnati. I will give it a 50-50. I agree with the line being even, but I will also take Cincinnati in it. Once again, too much firepower. It is hard for me to think that the Titans can maintain this workhorse running back, stout defense style. And when you just bring in dynamic, explosive offenses, albeit Cincinnati didn't really do that in the playoffs last year, but they have the ability to take the top off, and those touchdowns can just bury the Titans, I think, in some of these games. Week 13 at Philadelphia. Um, 25%. I think Philadelphia's going to be humming. They're going to have... I like Philly this year. I don't like Tennessee this year. I don't think that they're going to be great. I mean, I might be calling Tennessee to miss the playoffs. I don't think that they're going to be good. And by the end of the season, they could be really reeling from Tannehill at this point. Week 14, Jacksonville, hosting Jacksonville. Let's put them back at a 75% on this one. Give them a good chance to win that one. Week 15 at the Chargers. 25. I think the Chargers are going to be humming too at this point. They're going to look good. They're going to feel good. And it's going to be later in the season. It's going to be in LA. And they're not going to be able to use weather for ground and pound. It's going to be a fast game, and they're not going to be able to keep up. Week 16, hosting Houston. 75%. Let's give them that strong 75% over Houston. Once again, Houston, one division win. That's Davis Mills, Week 17, hosting Dallas. 50%. This game is going to be a little bit tighter. They're going to be hosting. Dallas can be suspect in certain ways, and I'm going to take Dallas in this game over the Titans. Bill, Dallas versus Titans. Who do you got?
This one, I'm actually going to have to go with Titans. I also had 50-50, but I think that the Titans are going to keep the ball. They're going to do a little time possession, not give Dallas too much of a chance to try to get away with it. Titans win.
All right. Week 18 at Jacksonville. We'll give this a 50-50. I'm going to give it a 50-50. I think Jacksonville will be pulling it together. They'll be having some fun, and I think the Titans are going to win still. I think the Titans will still win. All right, here we go. Calculating up the numbers. Plus and minus. 25%, 50%, 75%. Adding together. Versus Vegas odds. Bills total. What do we got? Ooh. Bill and I are very separate. Vegas in the middle. I'm confident about this, actually. I don't like the Titans this year. I feel like they've been living off of some sort of like borrowed time. This ability to get Tannehill to 12 wins has just been shocking to me every single year. And I think they pull away with they get away with a lot of close wins against teams, and their luck is going to run out. I don't think that they can ride Derrick Henry like they've been able to. Derrick Henry leads them to multiple wins and division wins. I think Indianapolis is going to be scarier this year. And so their schedule might look softer than it is. I think Indianapolis will take the division. And I think the Titans could miss the playoffs for the first time in a few years. Bill, 10 wins. Where are you finding these 10 wins?
Yeah, I had some more splits than you did. I definitely wouldn't bet the over on this team. But that being said, I think that the issue is with my total doesn't take into consideration that bye week. That bye week is so early. Coming out of that, they have Indy, Kansas City, Denver, Green Bay, Cincinnati. Like those are just some juggernaut of a middle of the schedule for this team. So they're going to be pretty beat up by the second or the last third of the season, which might be some opportunistic teams. Jacksonville might be able to upset them, but my total seems a little inflated. I definitely wouldn't take the over, but I think that they'll still be around.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't liked the Titans for a couple of years, so don't take my word for it. Maybe it's just a personal vendetta against their style of play that I just feel like is not sustainable. Like, it's very difficult to maintain a great defense and maintain a great rushing offense and rely heavily on it, just not have that quarterback. And they lose A.J. Brown, which I feel like is saving them, or could have been saving them on some third downs that keep drives alive and allow them to score touchdowns. A.J. Brown is very good. He's one of the receivers, like one of the kind of lower tier. Obviously he's a number one receiver. He's a great receiver, but he was never in the conversation with players like Tyreek Hill and Devontae Adams. So like when I'm thinking about A.J. Brown, I feel like he's just being underutilized by a quarterback that can't really do as well as you'd think, or as aren't doing as well as it might seem. But he has a very good receiver that was saving him in a lot of ways, and obviously a running back taking a lot of pressure off of him. I think Tannehill is very mediocre, and I think without this, he'll get exposed. And with that, like you said, it's an early bye week. And then it's a really rough go. And the beginning isn't really easy either. I mean, the Giants are an easier team, but then you got Buffalo and Raiders and Colts, and they could be 1-3, and then maybe take it from Washington, be 2-3. Going into the bye week, maybe it's Malik Willis time. Maybe they're only beating these teams because maybe they're getting dominated because their luck is running out and Derrick Henry is not holding the team together as much. And then you got Indianapolis. Houston can get a little bit of a win, but then Kansas City, Denver, Green Bay, if the bye week wasn't a good point to bring in the new quarterback of Malik Willis, maybe not being able to keep up with Kansas City, not being able to keep up with Denver, not being able to keep up with Green Bay and Cincinnati. It just leads to, all right, Tannehill, you know what? You can't. You're not dynamic enough. We don't have A.J. Brown. We can't score enough. So now you go into the latter half of the season, but they might already be, by going into that Philly game, they could genuinely be like 4 what does that end up being? Like 4-5, 4-6, because of how difficult that run is. And then maybe they can win a whole bunch of games out, but that just ends up them being like an 8 or 9 win team, and maybe it's just time at that point when you're going into Philly in week 13 after losing possibly 4 games in a row. You're like, all right, that's it. They're just thinking, this is it. Let's go with Willis and have him finish out the season, because I don't think we're going to be able to catch up to Indianapolis or any of the other teams in the wild card to make the playoffs. But maybe you think I'm totally wrong. Maybe you think A.J. Brown's ability is overinflated by me and by his stats, and that Tannehill can make do. And Tannehill's much better than I am making him out to be. Derrick Henry still got some steam in those legs after these years, after the injury. And the Tennessee Titans their defense is going to get even better, and they're just going to start rumbling through this whole thing. Maybe Indianapolis isn't even going to be good, and they're going to be able to 6-0 the division. Let me know. Write it in the comments. Go through the schedule. 25, 0%, 25%, 50, 75, 100%. And tell me what your win total is. Compare it with me. Compare it with Vegas odds. Compare it with Bills. Maybe you're higher on them than Bills. You think you're going to win 12, or you think it's just going to be done. And Malik Willis is going to start by week 6, and he's not going to be good either, and they're going to win 6. Something along those lines. Either way, they're all a possibility. There's always a chance for something. It's a very exciting NFL league that goes through everything, and teams become good, teams become bad. Maybe this is the year they're going to be bad. Let me know. Tell me the matchups you're interested in to watch. Make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.